Now then guys, Quinn's Dude here. Welcome back to the Rad Music Chat channel. Hope you're all doing well. If you could hit a like on the video just now, and also if you haven't done so or you're new here, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever I upload new content. What are we looking at today? Well, we're going to get back on track and jump into the 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die book. And we are going pretty left field with today's album. This is the Madcap Laughs by SYD BARRETT, and it was released on January the 3rd, 1970. The genres attached to this are psychedelic folk, psychedelic rock. To keep in line with the channel's aim of keeping these videos as brief as possible, I'm not going to go into the backstory of who Barrett was, his psychological problems, drug use issues and everything else. That story's been told 100 million times. Some context on this story of this album, though, we do need to note that Barrett was one of the founding members of Pink Floyd and was the band's original vocalist and guitarist, and this album came out a couple of years after he parted ways with Floyd. The way that I kind of got to know this album was, aside from listening to it obviously, was that it's made up of 3 separate sessions with 3 different parties producing. The earliest of these 3 sessions was with a former member of Pink Floyd's management team that left the band about the same time that Barrett did, called Peter Jenner. Peter Jenner and Barrett went into EMI Studios, which is now Abbey Road Studios, and they went in and recorded several tracks from May 1968. The only track that Barrett included on the final track list in this is the last track of the album, track 13, which is Late Night. The second sessions for Madcap Laughs are from April 1969. These were with Malcolm Jones at the helm. Jones was an executive that worked for EMI that saw something in Barrett and his solo material. This session yielded 5 tracks. So the Malcolm Jones sessions ended up pretty much similarly to the first set, with Peter Jenner, Barrett losing interest, something else happening in his life, him disappearing off. Barrett managed to convince his old bandmates Roger Waters and David Gilmour to help him with the remaining tracks. The recording sessions with Gilmour and Waters took place a couple of months after the Jones ones in June of 1969. For me, the Malcolm Jones sessions are by far the most enjoyable. They're the most coherent, the most well produced. The Jones songs make up the whole of side 1 bar 1 track, so tracks 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6 are all from the Jones sessions. The album kicks off with a lovely track called Terrapin. It's a really quirky, cute little love song, and it has a very underwater sort of vibe about it. Funnily enough, I really like the fact that on the guitar playing, and this song was actually recorded in 1 take, the lead guitar done just overdubs, but the strumming on it is obviously with a very thin plectrum, and they've left the kind of percussive striking of the strings in, which really adds to the song's kind of lulling along. Track number 2, No Good Trying, is when you hear it, you can hear so much of where Bowie got a certain era of his sound from. And funnily enough, Bowie did say that the Madcap Laughs is one of his, he named it more than once as one of his favorite albums. It also, you can hear a lot of later, the last few Blur albums, where they kind of went off into that lo-fi world and sound, and also Graham Coxon, who has as well tipped his hat towards the Madcap Laughs. The track Love You is the best song the Beatles have never written. It just bounces along in that way, with the feel of something that could have been off of Sgt. Pepper's, arguably my favourite song on the album. The only blot on side 1 is actually the only non-Malcolm Jones produced song on side 1, which is Dark Globe. Dark Globe comes from the Waters Gilmour session, and it just is a sign of things to come. It doesn't sound fully realized. it doesn't sound like Barrett was comfortable with the songs as yet, and that he'd ironed out all the kinks, so to speak. Side 2 starts with the only single from the album and easily the most well-known track from it, called Octopus. Now, Octopus actually sounds, in comparison to all the other Waters Gilmore recorded songs, sounds the most accomplished, and is almost 4 minutes of just really enjoyable, quirky English folk. From there on in, what we have on the rest of side 2 is 5 tracks from the Waters Gilmore sessions that are full of, I mean, there's arguably great songs there, and at Barrett's insistence, they were all put in as they appear on the album, included in the track listing. But what you have here is just a series of false starts, mistakes in the songs, do-overs that are halfway through the song. And I mean, if you listen to the start of it, If It's In You, now maybe hardcore Syd Barrett fans will be like, well, you know, this is the whole point, and warts and all, and, you know, this is the personality of the man. The vocal line in that song that he actually stuffs up to start with, when he actually gets the vocal line, it's really odd note choices, which is commendable, but they're horrible. They're just not nice to listen to. It's we're getting into kind of dying cat territory. In my opinion, the album actually ends well with the track Late Night. That's from the it's the only track from the Jenna sessions, and then Malcolm Jones did some work on it to make it how it ends up here, and at least it leaves the album with not quite the same impression that the previous songs on side 2 had done. It's actually noteworthy to say that Malcolm Jones, once he'd heard the tracks that were done with Gilmore and Waters, he felt like, he said that he was actually angry, and he felt that they were, what they'd committed to tape was, and then included on the album, was unnecessary and very unkind. But it was Barrett at the end of the day that decided that these were worthy of being on the final track list. This really is one of those albums where it defines those albums that walk the line between, to some people this is absolute nonsense, and to some people this is genius. So guys, a really interesting one. I'm not sure where I even sit on it still. I would need a lot more time with it. I will, however, say that the first time through on it, I just didn't know if I ever wanted to listen to it again. The second time through, actually, was like, oh, okay, there's lots of this that I like, and then that just continued to grow. But I definitely am heavy on side 1. As I always say, if you're a fan of this album, then please let me know your views on the album and what I've said about it. Also, if you're going to listen to it, then I would be really interested in what you make of it. Yeah, thank you for watching as always, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay rad.